Hey guys, we have us another new Simon Hurley release coming out now. Anybody want to take a look with me? So I'm going to start off with this. I know, looks like paper. Well, that's because it is, but it's a new paper that Simon is just now coming out with. Let me just take out one sheet. Ooh, that feels nice. This is some new watercolor paper from Simon Hurley. Okay. Now, I don't do a lot of watercoloring, but what I can already tell on this is it is pretty smooth. This side has got a little bit of a texture like most of them do. This one is silky smooth. Yeah, it almost feels like better pressed paper to me. But anyway, we've got new watercolor paper. So what does that mean? So watercolor paper means that the products with the rest of this collection are things that are going to work great with this paper, which means they are ones that are going to do great because of water, right? He's had a lot of products come out recently that are all kind of water type of things. So we're gonna take a look at the rest, but I did want to share that part with you first. So next up, we've got us, like with all of his, we've got some stamps and dies and things. So the dies, you can tell because of their bronze color, are from Spellbinders. So they're going to match up perfectly with this first stamp set. This one is called Under the Sea. And isn't that friggin' adorable? I thought all the critters looked so cute. They've kind of got, I don't know, a little bit of a Nordic design on there. And I think that they are just lovely. I think this is going to be fabulous. But then I started reading the sentiments. Okay, does anybody love a punny sentiment? So we have see you soon. You are incredible, INK. Oh, carp, I forgot your birthday. Waving hello. You occupy my thoughts. Sorry I was crabby. Happy birthday. You're really cool. I love you. May all of your fishes come true and celebrate. This is just so fun. So we have got a couple of octopus. This one I think counts as a squid because of the head. I don't know my fish. I know, I live in Florida and I don't know my fish. But anyway, we got a couple of fish here. We've got some shells, another fish, another fish, another fish. We've got a bunch of fish. Then we've got ourselves a lobster. And when I showed that to the Todd, first thing he said was rock lobster, as in the song. And then here we have us a fun crab. I think those are just simply adorable. And then the dies, although I haven't opened the dies yet, I'm pretty sure this is the set that the dies match. You just pull out one of those. We have dies for all of our critters. Isn't that fun? So I do have to get these packaged. I haven't packaged them up for my storage yet, but yeah, I had to show you guys as I'm taking them out of the box. So we've got that stamp and die set. Then we've got this fun stencil. Look at the net. I think that is going to be adorable. This one is called Bubbly. So it's supposed to be a bunch of bubbles, which it counts as bubbles too. That is cool. My first thought was it looked like a net, but the thing is the only thing you're going to see are going to be the holes, not the lines. So that's what that design's going to look like when we put it on some paper. Then we've got another stencil. This one is called Fish Frenzy, and it's a couple of different schools of fish. So you've got your large school of fish, or rather your school of large fish, and then you've got your school of small fish. So I think those are so cool. So this one gives that kind of, yeah, they're all gathered around probably feeding. And these here are like they're swimming along the current. I think that is just fabulous. Yeah, I needed some more fishy things. I love fishy things. And then the final stamp that we have in this set is called Saltwater. And this creates a fun background. Look at that. So it looks kind of like rolling waves when you're out in the water. So a lot of times we see stamps or anything that are supposed to look like water, but it's really smooth and it looks kind of like what the waves would look if you're standing on shore and you're looking out. This is like if you're on a boat or you're right there down in the water and you're looking out and those waves are crashing on you. So that I think is perfect. Yeah, that I love the look of that. I mean, it is a little kind of sketchy. It's not too super realistic, but that look is just, oh yeah. I love that one. So I'm going to be using that a bit. So those are our stamps and stencils. But wait, there's more. Simon has come out with some more colors of his solar sprays. So the first one is Trust Fund. That's an interesting name. And it is this light green. And then we have this orange, which is called Twin Flame. And when you're looking at these, the color is basically the color that you see on the packaging. I am going to test them out, so we don't worry about that. Then we've got Deep End. It's another blue. And here's another one that is Neptune. So this one is a bluer blue, and this one is kind of a tealer blue. So which one's my fave? I actually love them both, but this one is, of course, I love that teal blue. Then we've got another purple. This one is called... I can't read it because the... Let's see, do I have it on a list over here? This one is called Pity Party. I was having trouble reading it because the packaging is like, that's right where the plastic is kind of bubbled. But look at that pretty pink. It's kind of a pinkish purple. I think that is lovely. Okay, and then we've got Sublime. So it's a kind of a yellow with a touch of green in there. So we have us 6 new colors to go with the 6 we already have. Fabulous. And for you guys that have been playing with your mica sprays like this and accidentally got the nozzles clogged, they've come out with replacements so that you can swap them out. Now my thought is swap them out and soak and clean the initial one, but yeah, now you've got that. So I'm gonna have to see, how do you go about cleaning those? That's something else I need to do for another video, but I will do some research on that. But now we have some replacement clogs for while we are trying to get them, the originals, unclogged. Okay, so next up, I think what I need to do, I need to swatch these colors on some black cardstock, I think, to start off with. So let's go ahead and do that. Now with the sprays, there is mica in these. That's what gives it all its lovely shimmer and shine. But you need to mix these up well, otherwise it's going to get clogged at the bottom of the straw that's on your spray. So we need to shake them up real well, because right now we do have some mica kind of down in the bottom. So let's do the Simon Hurley workout. So once it's all shook up, there shouldn't be any of the mica still lingering around the bottom of the container. Looks like I still have a little bit of a line going across. So let's shake it a little bit more and get that taken care of. It's probably good enough, but I really don't want a chance clogging this on the first day, right? So I decided that I'm going to swatch it on both black and white so that when I go to look to see what color do I want to use, I can see the difference. I can see what it's going to look like on a darker cardstock and what it's going to look like on a lighter cardstock. We're going to start off with Deep End, and I also am going to do 2 different types of swatching. So I've taped off with some mint tape on the bottom there. So for the first part, for the top, I'm just going to do a light spritz. Kind of pumping it a little bit to get some into that little straw. There we go. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here on, actually that was more of a mist. Let's do a mist too. So I'm going to go ahead and dry both of those with my heated tool. And then we're going to go on to the second stage of the swatching. Okay, so now let's go ahead and remove the mint tape, and I'm going to tape off the top portion as well. I'm also going to tape off part of the black, just so that I've got a black line between them so I know what the original cardstock looked like. And I'm going to do the same thing with the white. And by the way, the pieces that I'm using here for all of the swatching is part of this color swatch pedal. Now this is basically designed from Spellbinders for color swatching out all of your cardstocks. But I feel that it's going to be really useful for basically, yes, swatching out everything. So doing this on white and black cardstocks, the cardstocks that you typically use the most, is going to give you a good idea of what to use those specific colors of whatever medium it is. So this is one of the first ones that I am making sure I go ahead and get them, especially since I just got these in. Yes, so this one, again, we are doing deep end. And what I'm going to do with the second area, I need a little bit more tape on that one. There we go, to hold it down flat. I'm going to go more solid. I'm going to fill in that area quite a bit. Look at that. It is just gorgeous. Do the same thing over here on the white. And then we're going to, wait, I want a little bit more. Yes, okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and heat it up again. Now what this is going to do, it's going to let me see what it's going to look like with a light misting. And then it's going to let me know what it's going to look like with that dark, heavy coat of that spray. And again, we're just using our heat it tool to speed up drying time because, yeah, Debbie is impatient. Okay, so for the white, we've got a little bit of shimmer at the top. You have to tilt it in the light to see it. I mean, I can see it from where I'm looking, but now it's a little bit, there we go. So you can see a little bit of that shimmer, but the bottom is a bit more solid and some more of the color is coming through. And it looks like I need to dry it a little bit more because that line where the tape was isn't quite dry enough and it's going to try to break. So let's hopefully not let that happen. I'm going to just dry this a little bit more. And I think it's just I got a little bit too much of the spray right at that tape line. So try not to do that. I'm going to take a look at the black as well. And look at that lovely blue. Now this one, again, you saw me. I put the same color on both sides. This one's kind of a little bit of a, this one is the deep end. And it's that pretty blue. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, where to put them? I'm going to take one of the bigger pieces that come with that die set and a couple of these. These are going to be our hole reinforcers, you know, like we used to use on notebook paper, and glue everything together after writing this one down so I know which one it was. Again, this is a deep end, so I'm going to just write that on the front and the back down here at the bottom. And then we're just going to glue all of this together. I do like this swatching system with these dies from Spellbinders. Kind of makes everything nice and uniform and easy for storage. And the reason I'm doing it on the front and the back like that is so that the same color is going to be attached on each of these petals, and I'm going to be able to find it easier. And as you can see, you really don't see a whole lot on the white. I like it on colors other than really dark, just for that shimmer that shows up on there. It makes it kind of look like specialty cardstock, because that is really going to be pretty for a subtle look. But then this side is just absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to do the same thing with the rest of the new colors. Next, we've got Neptune. So let's go ahead and give those a quick spray. And then a heavier coat for the bottom. Next we have Trust Fund. Such fun name, Simon. Thank you. Ooh, look at that green. And now for the bottom part. Ooh, that is so pretty. Next we have Twin Flame. Ooh. Love it. And next we're going to add Extra. Yes, I'm loving doing this. This is so fun and the colors are so pretty. Oh my goodness. Are you guys loving this as much as me? Okay, maybe not because I have it to play with and you guys don't have it yet, but you will. And now we have Pity Party. I'm kind of wondering, is it pink or is it purple, or I'm thinking it's kind of in between. So let's take a look. That is pretty. Oh, I put too much down on this one. Let me dry that a little bit. And I'm going to leave it at that. It's like now it has a little bit of a shimmer because, yeah, I got too much on there. But you can't really see it unless you tilt it in the light. Look at that. Okay. So I'm going to leave that as my swatch. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I think I'm just getting a little bit overexcited. Let's do a little bit more as... Okay, there we go. Now I've got some little droplets to give it kind of that a little bit of extra look. Anyway, yeah, it's going to have too much on there, but that's okay. It's not going to have that fun look like what these have got for that part. And that is what I'm looking for. I want to be able to see what's it going to look like on white cardstock when you tilt it in the light. Yay! And then the more solid. Ooh, that is lovely. Okay, let's go ahead and dry that and finish putting together my swatches. And you kind of see that I made a little bit of a mess here. That's fine because it cleans up super easy with some water. Did I say that there was a mess? Where's the mess? It's gone. So yeah, I love these new sprays from Simon. I've already got the ones that he released not too long ago. And now I've got these new colors to add to my collection. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the swatches. And then I think we need to make a card. Oh, look at that. Isn't that pretty? And now I have these all ready so that I can just flip through and say, okay, what color will go best with what I'm working on? Yeah, so we can see the splatter here. I love the splattering effect for things like, I don't know, how about Galaxy? Yeah. Right now I'm thinking very much aquatic for basically all of those colors. I think they are just absolutely fabulous. I mean, yeah. Except Sublime should be over here, I think. I put them in the wrong order. Anyway, I will be readjusting those. And guess what? I will be doing additional swatching for the other colors and other things in my stash. So you guys need to let me know in the comments, do you like seeing swatching videos? So that'll just tell me, do I need to do it on camera or not? Because yeah, I think these are gorgeous. Anyway, okay, next up, we're going to take a look at the stamp sets. This first stamp set is absolutely fabulous. This is the saltwater cling stamp, and yeah, I had to make a bunch of backgrounds. Yeah, ooh. Just looking at that gave me an idea, so I had to pull out some blue cardstock and just play. So I'm going to speed things up a bit for you guys so you don't have to sit and wait for me to get all these done. This first panel, I just took the two sides after I took out that center, of course, and inked it up with some white pigment ink. This is Moonlight White Dewdrop ink, and then I'm pressing that down. So it then leaves that nice white, a nice dark blue center in the center of it. Then I took some of the Stellar inks from Simon Hurley and put them on that centerpiece, the one I had removed, that cling stamp I had removed, and inked them up with some different colors of blue ink from those Stellar inks. And love the way that blend turned out. Next, I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm using some of the Solar Spray on that same stamp, and I love the way that it turned out. However, I want more of that mica showing, so I'm going to really saturate that stamp so that it's going to show a lot better. And I'm going in with that I think it was gold. What color was that one? I think it may have been Sublime. Anyway, this is fabulous. I love all of these are a really watery, under the sea look. So I went back to that first colored panel, the one that I did with the 3 Stellar inks, and I'm adding some of the shimmer to it because I kind of love the shimmer. Yeah, that's kind of my thing right now. So I'm adding that just with a paintbrush. And then I thought, I think I want a little bit more. So I'm gonna put down some ink and put down some of that Stellar spray, that Solar Spray, mix them together and add a bunch more right over the top, adding a little bit more color with it. Did you know that you can make your own shimmer sprays or shimmer color sprays using the spray and your inks? So the inks will show up on white cardstock, but the shimmer will show up when the light hits it just right. So pretty, love it. Since that worked so well, I decided, let's see what it looks like on this white, right? So this is the panel that I used the white pigment ink on. And then I added some of the shimmer spray to that and inked it out, and used my paintbrush. And it mixes with the white so nice, it makes a bit frothy. So once I got done with those, I'm going to take out the stencils and we're going to do something fun with that. I'm taping down the one that's got all of the fishes on there. I will leave links to everything below as soon as they are available. But I'm going to go over this with that same white pigment ink because it'll show up good on dark cardstock. If you go with a dye ink onto dark cardstock, it's kind of going to just saturate it. Putting a white on there really helps all the color to be able to be seen. So let's take a look. Okay, I think that this looks fabulous, but I decided I want a little bit more color. So first I'm going to dry the pigment ink pretty much because it does stay wet longer and it does kind of sit on top of the cardstock. That's one of the reasons it is so good for this on dark cardstock. But yeah, I'm going to then go ahead and add some of my Simon Hurley inks over the top. So I'm adding some guppy to the fish that are up at the top, and then I'll come in with some bee sting for the ones a little below. You can put a couple of layers on here, but to be honest, I think I probably would have gotten better results if I used a true white pigment ink instead of the Brilliance. The Brilliance has got kind of this shimmer, and that's fabulous for what we've been doing, but it shows through more than I think the plain white pigment ink would. I think more of the color would have shown through. Anyway, this is still very, very pretty. For our next panel, I had to do a little bit of ink blending, so I grabbed out a bunch of my Simon Hurley Stellar inks, and we are doing a full rainbow. That means I do have quite a bit of overlapping, and the bands are kind of narrow, but I do really like the way that the blend turned out. So I started off with, oh goodness, what was the name of that yellow? We started off with Shooting Star, and then we went in for Guppy and then Bee Sting, and now I'm putting down some 100% juice. And we're going to follow that with Midnight Snack and Later Gator. And as I've talked about in a lot of videos in the past, the best way to get a really good blend and good coverage is to go back over everything again. So once I get the Later Gator down, I'm going to go backwards and do the same colors again in reverse order. So that's going to help everything to blend really well. Right now you can really see the lines between all of the colors, but once we get this done, it's going to look fabulous. Of course, we're not done yet. I'm going to try out the other of the new stencils. This one is called Bubbly, and I wasn't sure as I was putting this down whether or not it had the film that I'm used to having on all of Simon's stencils. This is the new material he was talking about not too long ago, so it doesn't have a film on it, meaning you can put it either direction down on your sticky mat and not have to worry about it. What I'm using is just a little bit of water, though, going through that stencil to try and just pick up a little bit. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but we're going to use the water reactive properties to see how it does with this bubbly stencil. I think this is so pretty, but look at what happens when we apply just a little bit of water through the stencil. Oh my goodness, it just lightened up those little dots and gave it this super, super fun texture. I absolutely love this. Okay, so far I've just used regular cardstock for everything, so it does work on cardstock. All these can be used on regular cardstock, but I haven't done anything with Simon's new watercolor paper, so I think I need to cut a panel or two and do a little bit on a couple of these, because, yeah, it's been a while since I've done anything on watercolor paper. And like I said, this does feel really nice, and it is nice and thick. Okay, I think what I'm gonna do, I got a couple of ideas. I think what I'm gonna start is add some color to the background. So I'm gonna do some ink smushing. I've got a couple of colors of blue ink. So we've got the new High Tide and Clear Skies, and I think we do need a little bit of Midnight Snack in here. And maybe a little bit of 100% juice. And I'm just putting this onto some packaging. And then we're gonna just spritz it with some water. Let it start moving around a little bit. And I shouldn't have done this over a mat, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm letting it move around a little bit, and then we're gonna flip it over, and we're just gonna add some color. Now we have a little bit of a watercolor wash. I think I do want some more. I think I want to dry that and then deepen up the color a little bit by adding another layer. And like I said, this is the first time I'm trying out Simon's watercolor paper, and seems to be taking the color pretty good. I like that. I keep expecting one of the edges to curl up, even though, well, it is curling up a little bit, but not a lot. And it did come off of the mat because it did curl a little bit, but it's not curling much. I mean, you can see that. And that's because I'm using heat with the water. Okay, let's add a little bit more. I kind of want some more purple, I think. So let's do some more 100% juice and a little bit more of the Midnight Snack. And again, a little water to mix the two together. Oop, I added probably a little bit too much. That's okay, but it is starting to mix a little bit. I do want to keep the colors kind of sort of separate, but not completely separate. So let's do a quick flip because I knew it was going to drop. Okay. And I kind of like those areas where it pools a little bit of the color. I kind of like that. I wasn't intending to have that mark across the side, but that's all right. I think that looks kind of cool. So I was thinking about doing black, but I think I want to actually do some Midnight Snacks. Let me grab a brush. I'm going to use one of these smaller blending brushes that I've gotten recently from Pink Fresh. And we're going to just add us in some dark navy blue fish. I started off with the pouncing because I was afraid I was going to get the bristles underneath, but I think the holes in this one they are small enough where that's not happening. So that I think is fabulous. Because the bristles do kind of work better if they do swirl around a little bit. You know, blending instead of pouncing. And then let's take a look. I'm also looking to see if any of that film that is usually on there peels off of my stencil. Oh, I love that. That looks so cool. I'm going to do the same thing up here, I think, onto this side and off to the edge. So we're going to have a couple of different schools of fish going. Okay, I like that, but I do kind of want something in the middle. This is still dirty from when I used it a little bit ago. So I'm going to go wash this off real quick, and then we're going to add some more fish to our panel here. So these are going to look a little bit odd because, of course, this is a translucent water-based ink. It's not pigment ink, and it's going to blend in with the colors behind it, but I still think that's going to look pretty cool. I'm not going to do all of these larger fishes. I'm basically going to make it be a smaller fish. I think I'm going to come in with some red too and mix in with the orange. So right now I'm just using some guppy. Okay, so I'm going to bring out some bee sting and just add a little bit more color. To those same fish. I have no idea how this is going to turn out because this is the first time I've used this stencil. I am playing and doing a little bit of experimentation, guys. Okay, let's take a look. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I am liking those fish. This is pretty cool. Okay, so I think that... No, I was going to say that's going to be that's going to finish up that background, but it's not. I'm going to add some more fish. This time I'm going to go in with a lighter... I'm going to do some more of the tiny ones, but I'm going to go in with one of the lighter blues. And let's have these going this direction. And just a little bit up here in the top. And let's use some clear skies for those. Still using my same blue brush. So it's going to have some of Midnight Snack on there too, but that's totally fine. Okay, so we have a few little fish there. And then I'm going to add some more down in this area, I think. And let's give them at an angle. This would be a fun place to go fishing, I think, because there's lots and lots and lots of fish to catch. Okay, gonna stop there. Okay, so I'm gonna say that that panel is gonna be done. Now we just need to work on some focal images and or some sentiments. I think it's gonna be cool. Oh, I can't be done. I just can't. We're gonna do a little bit with this one. We're gonna do some with the bubbles. And what I'm gonna do with that is I'm just gonna add some of the sprays over the top of this. And then I'm gonna let it sit and dry. Because otherwise it's going to spread out. And I'm hoping it's not gonna do this. Keeping my fingers crossed, guys. Okay, so this one is deep end. Yeah, and I don't have that much on this side, so I'm going to tape it down with cement tape just to help it a little bit to stay down so that hopefully this won't lift and we'll get some nice bubbles. Okay, so we've got some of the deep end, and I think I'm going to also add some pity party. Okay, and then with the other piece of cardstock that we already had, I'm going to lift up Actually, this is some more of that watercolor paper. I'm going to lift up some of what's on top, and hopefully that's going to make it so that it's not going to spread everywhere. Instead, hopefully it'll stay mostly in place. We'll see. So I've got a little bit of the color there. Look at that. So I did a little bit of lifting. That is kind of cool. You guys can't really see it that well, but I can. So I'm going to let this dry too. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so yeah, but I still think it's cool. So there are bubbles. There are bubbles on here, and it did cause some of my fish to bloom a little bit. But isn't that kind of a cool watery background? I think I like it. I'm going to keep it. We're going to turn this one into a card. I can feel, though, that it's not quite dry. Just the card isn't quite as crisp. And, yeah, heavyweight cardstock in general feels more substantial than lightweight cardstock, right? So this one doesn't feel quite as crisp, but it's also not really warping. Now, just as an example, here is the piece of white paper that I also added water to. I didn't add a lot of water to it. I just did a little misting through that stencil. And yeah, this one is where we did a bit more on there. This one is dry, but it is curved. This one is almost dry, but it's not quite curved yet. So yeah, I think that the watercolor paper, of course, is going to stay flat nicer. So that is a big plus for Simon's new watercolor paper. I'm not a watercolor expert. I don't use it much. I need to do it more. I know. I need to just sit here and play. And that's kind of the mood I'm in right now. So that's all I've been doing today. I've been doing nothing but just playing with some of these. But isn't that just adorable? Okay, we're going to move forward and start doing some stamping so that we can actually start putting together some cards. These are going to be so fun. I think I'm going to start off with the lobster and the crab. And I'm not 100% sure. It's like I do like those guys. I'm going to have them in red. I think they're going to be like red and orange because lobster and crab. Although the crab could be a blue crab. I don't know. Anyway. Let's just start off with those guys. I got enough room on here for another critter though. So what do I want to do? Let's do this flounder. I think it's a flounder. It's probably not, but yeah, we're going to say it's a flounder. And just lift those up with the lid of my Misty. And I'm going to start with, yeah, I kind of want them to be red and orange. So I'm going to start with Guppy, and then I'm going to add some bee sting for the second stamping. So I'm just starting off with some of this. And I already know I am putting this down too heavy because I'm still not used to the foam pads. Okay, these are foam pads, so you don't need to use a lot of pressure on them. You don't need to pounce a bunch like what I did. But look, I got lots and lots of ink on there, didn't I? Okay, that looks pretty good. I do see a straight line across my lobster because of how I put the ink down. So you want to be more gentle than this. This only needs a love tap. It does not need bam, bam, bam like what you do with your felt pads. Your felt pads really need to scrub in order to get the ink out of the pad because there's plenty of ink in there, but it's just held in more tightly with that felt. A foam pad lets it go pretty easy. There we go. Now that's more even. Let me clean up my stamps real quick, and then we're going to add a little bit of bee sting on there to get a little bit extra color variety. I think that'll be cool looking. Give a little dimension to our sea friends. Okay, so I'm trying to do this. So what I want to do is go on the outer sides, outer edges of our critters. You know, not cover the whole ink, the whole stamp. We just want the outer edges, right? And then I'm going to come back in with this little red brush and kind of just blend it out as it goes in so we don't have that harsh edge where the color joins. I'm going to do that on all three. We're going to see how this does. I am not an expert at this either. I told you guys I'm not an expert at a lot of things. I'm pretty good at quite a few because I play and I do more. So that means that those I can already tell are too straight on my little fishy. So let's blot a little bit of that off and do a little bit more blend in there. Okay, that I think is going to be better. So let's just do a little bit of blending. I have no idea if me rubbing it on here like this is going to take off too much of that ink, but we'll see how it looks when we get done. Okay, we're going to go for it. Let's see how these orange and red critters look. And that I think turned out pretty well. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a little bit of color variation there. So that I think did work really well. I'm going to add a little bit more red, and this time I'm not going to go with the pad straight down. I'm going to use my brush. And leaving it nice and bright in the center, I think is a good idea. So I'm just kind of darkening up those edges. Kind of like what we do when we're using our alcohol markers, right? Okay, let's see if this does anything. Because if it's darker on the outside, it's going to look brighter on the center. And it did. It did just what I wanted. Fabulous. So I just discovered a technique that you guys probably already knew about, but didn't tell me, about using your brushes to add ink to your stamps. I love, love, love that. I'm going to start doing that more often. Yay. I stamped out some more of those little critters, and now we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of die cutting so that we can go ahead and start assembling our cards. I also stamped out a bunch of sentiments. For the first card, I'm using that blended and watercolory background with the stencil and putting that onto some dark blue cardstock as a mat. Then I'm going to add a few of those little critters to the front. It's going to be a real quick and easy card, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I love these vibrant colors. Yeah, it is so much fun. Kind of as an afterthought, I remembered, oh yeah, I still have Nuvo drops. So I've got the crystal drops. Now, I'll be honest, the first card, they didn't turn out as good because it was a little bit clogged. I haven't used it in a while and was a little bit dried up. So on this first one, and they did wind up with the little peaks, and I didn't really like that. But I still think this card turned out fabulous. The rest of them turned out better. So for the next one, I'm using that blue and white background where I kind of painted with the shimmer spray onto the white to give that frothy look, and we're going to add a little lobster to this card. For this next card, we're going to use that fun octopus. Yeah, we're going to use that one and the panel that had all those fishes that went across. This is the one that I used the white ink and then put some red and orange over the top, but you can't really see it all that well now that it's completely dry. Still think it's fabulous though. Love, love, love the shine. Also adding some more of those Nuvo drops, just like I am for the rest of the cards. And at this point, they were starting to actually do the whole bubble droplet thing that I was hoping for. For this next card, we're going to use that other squid. It's not an octopus, it's a squid. But I still use that octopi, that octopi sentiment. So I'm just adding him kind of over those pretty blue waves, and along with the sentiments, you octopi my thoughts, and some more of those nice bubble droplets. For this last card, I had used the notched corner frames dies to cut out a blue mat and to cut out that watercolor panel with all the lovely fishes that we did. So that's what I'm putting together, and I decided to put it up on some foam. I did use foam on quite a few of my cards, by the way, because foam is life. And I decided to also do a fishtail, a handmade fishtail banner for the sentiment. This one just has that cute little fish swimming around with the rest of his buddies, and I think that is super cute. To put that sentiment down, though, I did pull out my Pear Blossom Press T-square to help me get it lined up. There is a notch on the underside that helps you line it up right with the edge of your card, so that is fabulous. It helps out so much. And like all the other ones, I did add those little droplets of the Nuvo drops. I had so much fun playing with all of the things in Simon's new collection. I really had trouble stopping. I mean, yeah, all of these look different, and they're a little bit outside of my normal style, which I think is good because I really want to stretch. But you can see those nice little droplets from the Nuvo drops. This is that watercolor background with the shimmer. Yes, love that on his new watercolor paper. This one is the one we did in the ink blended in that fun stencil too. And cute little crab, yes. This one is the octopi my thoughts with our little squid and our octopus just waving hello. And then, of course, our fabulous birthday lobster. I love all of these. I think they turned out super. I just love them. And I think I'm going to use some as birthday cards for when I go on vacation soon, because summertime fishing, yeah, all the things. And one of the things that really surprised me probably the most was how doing just a little bit of the shimmer mixed in with white pigment ink caused that frothiness to happen on the card. I love that. That's going to open up so many different ways to use this. Just saying. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you enjoy Simon's new collection with all the fun stamps and dies, and of course, the fabulous new solar spray colors. This was just so much fun. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day. I know this was a long video, but it was a lot of cards. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope to catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.